Hi, welcome to my Makeup Monday for Monday the 7th of July 2025. My name's Denise McCabe and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia on the New South Wales Central Coast, so welcome. So I used to pre-record my Makeup Mondays, but the last couple of weeks I've gone live and the people who watch seem to think that was a good idea and to stay going live, so I guess I will unless I've got an appointment or I'm not home at 2 o'clock, and then I'll probably pre-record it and schedule it. Hi Barbara, how are you? Thanks for hopping on. I'm a little bit late because I decided to race out and bring in all my towels that I washed because it's become very overcast here, and I thought it looks like it's going to rain, so the towels were not quite dry but pretty close, so I thought I'd run and get them in, so that's why I'm a few minutes late, so sorry about that. So today I'm going to make, it's called a fan fold card, but there really is no fold to it, but anyway, that's what we're going to make. I got one for my birthday from my downline Christy, my friend in downline Christy, and I wanted to have a go at it, so we're going to have a go at that. Hi Leslie, thanks for hopping on. What's the weather like out in Penrith? I was just saying I just ran and brought my washing in because it's become very overcast and looks like rain here on the Central Coast. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and grab it and get it in before it rains. So let's go down to the craft desk and we can get started. Okay, if you jump on, say hi. We'd like to know who's watching and you can be part of the chat. Okay, so we're going to use the Kintsugi Inspirations suite from the annual catalogue. That's what we're going to use today. And this is the fan fold card that I got for my birthday from Christy. And yeah, it's not really like a fold, but it's called a fan fold. So sunny here in Melbourne. Oh, well, there you go. That's good. Maybe we'll get sun tomorrow. Yeah, Leslie, yeah, it was nice and sunny this morning, but now it's just got become very grey. So yeah, she used, I don't know what this paper is because I don't have it. Let me look, is it one of these ones? Yes, here it is, look at that. It's the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper. So, hi Marilyn. Yeah, so Christy used the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper for my card that she gave me, and I really liked it, and she was clever. She scaled it up to our Australian size cards. There was no way my brain could cope with that, so I have made an American size card. I just left the measurements as it. So this is the Australian size. And this is the American size. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Barbara. So, yeah, Christy was clever. She's younger than me, so her brain must work better than mine at the moment. She was able to scale it all up to be an Australian size card. So, if you look at, this is a card, see it's the same size. But my brain couldn't work that out with all the cutting. So, you know what? Hi, Lynn. I left it as the USA size, and you know what, it doesn't matter, it still fits in our envelopes. Where's an envelope? Let me find an envelope. It still fits in one of our envelopes, being a US side. It's got sides, it's got a little bit more space top and bottom, and it fills up the width a little bit better. Hi Margaret, hi Sheila, thanks for all hopping on. So yeah, my brain couldn't work it out. So I thought, don't tax your brain, Denise, it's not worth it. So this was my try, and I used the Celebratory Sips Designer Series paper and the stamp set and the holographic, I think that's what they're called, the gems with the Celebratory Sips. So I haven't stamped anything inside. I hadn't got to that. So, but that's what we're going to make. And yeah, I'm keeping it this size because the measurements make more sense to me. So the measurements are imperial today. They are in inches. So if anybody doesn't understand inches, I do apologise for that. I've just noticed I've got a bit of glue somewhere. I don't want it. So, but that's what we're going to do. And as I said, we're using the Kintsugi. I never know if I'm saying it right. I had it marked. Here it is. The Kintsugi Inspirations suite from the annual catalogue. I've only made one card with this suite. I had to have it, and then I've made one card and that's it. But you know what? I was looking at the catalogue before we went live, and I thought, I really like all their samples. I think I'm just going to case the catalogue. Why reinvent the wheel when all these samples are just so beautiful? And that's what the catalogue is for. It's to give you creative inspiration. So if you want to be like me, case the catalogue. So let's put the catalogue away. Now I've got little Rosie here in my room. She's asleep in her pillow, in her bed. So I hope she doesn't misbehave. Okay, so let's get, I've done a little bit of die cutting from the paper because the paper's so beautiful. And it is specialty paper, so it's got the gold foiling in it, so that makes it special and it makes it a tad more expensive, but specialty paper is always worthwhile having. Okay, now let's see if we can do this and I don't stuff up. So this is our card base in Misty Moonlight, and it's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's scored at 4 1/4. We've got a matting piece of 4 inches by 5 1/4, and another matting piece of 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And like when we're working in oh, you've cut all the vases, Sheila. I know. I sometimes, because our dies normally are cut with a white edge around them, I'm sort of struggling. I've got those two okay, but this one I sort of got a bit skew with. I'm not used to it cutting without that white border, so I'm sort of having a little bit of a struggle, so I don't want to, I might actually fussy cut some of them because then I won't screw it up. So like when we do our cards in metric, you always come down 5 centimeters for your matting, not 5 centimeters, 5 millimeters for your matting piece. When we're working with inches, quite often they come down 1/4 of an inch. So you can see how they come down with their matting pieces 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's for our card base. This is for our wide arrow fan piece. Now I've only got 2 pieces here because we're going to get the base piece out of our card base. So we've got basic white 2 1/4 by 5 1/8, and we've got piece of designer series paper 2 inches by 4 7/8. See, and it's just coming down 1/4 of an inch. So that's for our wide fan. And then for our skinny fan, this one on top, we've got a piece 1 1/2 inches by 5 1/2, 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, and 1 inch by 5 inches. And then these are our pieces for our insert inside. So our insert's 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I've got another piece to do this piece of paper, 2 1/2 inches by 5 inches. So I've got all those sort of cut and ready, but I haven't sort of done it in detail because I wanted to show you how we got the fan pieces and everything. So if anybody wants to screenshot all those measurements, I know there's a lot, you can do that. I will probably, when the video finishes, no, not probably, I will type them in the bottom of the video so you've got all the measurements. Okay, now I'm going to put them back in order. So that's our insert. This is our skinny fan. This is our wide fan. And these are our bases. Right, so 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to, we need our trimmer for this card. And we need a pencil. And I need my little notes that I scribbled down. Where are they? 2.5. Right. So we're going to measure in, and once again we're doing it in metric. Would you like me to turn this light off? Would that make it better? I'll turn it off and let... Is that okay? Is that better for you to see without the glare? Otherwise I'll pop it back on. I'll go ahead. It is better? Okay. I might put this one on over here because that might just give me a little bit more light so I can see here. So we're going to put the edge of our card on the scoring or cutting track, and we're going to measure in 2.5 inches and put a little mark. Okay, with our pencil. Then we're going to put that mark in our track and this corner. So the mark, the pencil mark we just made, and the bottom right corner in the track, and we're going to cut that off. Now that creates our base for our large fan. So keep that, don't throw that one away, we need that one. So then that's giving you your card base, and I'm going to just rub off the pencil mark as we go. And then we've got our first matting piece layer, the white piece. We're going to do, so that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to also do the same thing. We're going to pop it, line it up with the track, the cutting track, and we're going to measure 2.5 inches across. Did I say centimeters before? Sorry if I did. And we're going to put that pencil mark in the cutting track and the bottom right corner in the cutting track. And we can just put that piece to one side. So that gives us our first matting piece. We'll get a razor. I always like to say eraser because I don't want to say what we call an eraser because Americans watch and that means something different. So this is a designer series paper. So that's the top layer, top matting piece. So it's 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to do the same. We're going to put it in the cutting track and measure across to 2.5 and put a little pencil mark. So you're doing the same measurement, 2.5 inches across each time, but your layering pieces are actually shrinking down, so it works perfectly. So I'm going to pop the pencil mark in the track and cut that down. Keep that for another card. Okay, so when we bring in our card base, we've got our layering pieces all ready to go for that front panel. Can you see? You can't see because the fans are on it. So that's ready for the front panel. So we're just going to pop that to one side for the moment, and then we're going to work with our large fan piece. So that's the base that came off our card base. I like that. That's clever. So that's the base of our large fan, and we've got 2 pieces. One will be a white matting piece and one will be the designer series paper. So this is 2 1/4 inches by 5 1/8, and we're going to put the top left corner and the bottom right into the cutting track. And I don't actually like sliding my cutting blade up into a corner because it actually, more times than not, it scrunches up. So I'm going to start it in the middle and just go up and down. So that's our first card matting piece. Keep that, you can use it for another card. This is our designer series paper, 2 inches by 4 7/8, and we're going to do the same. Now I've turned it over because I want a contrasting piece of designer series paper underneath. So this is directional, and I should have said this at the beginning. If you're using directional paper, this card can get you into a bit of bother, but I don't think that this pattern is too directional to be problematic. So I am going to pop the top left corner and the bottom right into the cutting track. And once again, I'm going to start halfway so that the blade doesn't crunch up my corners. And that's that. And see, with the ones left over, you've got, you know, you've got sort of ones to start making your other two fans for another card. So that's a big fan. Now we come to a little fan, a skinny fan. Let me move that up. A skinny fan. So this is the card base, the Misty Moonlight part. This is 1.5 inches by 5.5, and we're going to cut diagonally. So top left, bottom right corners into the cutting track. Got the makings of another little fan for another card. So we'll pop that there. And we've got our white panel, 1.25 by 5.25. Top left, bottom right into the cutting track. If it will stay where I want it to stay. Let's turn it over. It seems to be rebelling. I think that's good. Okay, start halfway. There we go. That's our second layer for our skinny fan. And the final cutting piece, oh no, I tell a lie, I got one more after this. This is 1 inch by 5 inches. And I'm doing the same as the card front. So we've got contrast here, but then I'm going back to the same. So top left, bottom right into the cutting track. And that's going to go like so. Keep that one to make another card. No, that's not quite right. So we've got an insert which we're leaving as is, like that one. So we'll leave that alone. And this is a decoration insert. It's 2.5 by 5 inches. Top left, bottom right into the cutting track. Now I did go this way. Look, we can decide when we're putting it together which way we want to go. Okay. Oh, I think that moved. It did. Let me try that again. So there's lots of measurements in this card and it can sort of like, you know, I don't think I can try, I can't alter this now because I've gone that way. So that's okay. Right, now we can put our trimmer away. Yeah, there's lots of measurements and you can sort of get a bit bamboozled by it all. But stick with me and we'll get there. Okay, let me put my mini fan, my slim fan to one side, my big fan to one side. Okay, let's start layering and matting. So I'm just going to get the crease on my card base. And I even got myself out another pot of glue in case I ran out. I thought I'm going to be prepared. So I'm just going to get into the corners because when you're making sort of pointy things, you want the corners to stick. So just matting. So once you've got all the cutting and the measurements done, it's, maybe I shouldn't say this until I've finished. It comes together quite easily. Now I've probably jinxed myself. So let's do this one. I saw a US demonstrator, Lisa Curcio, I think her name is. I think that's how you say her name. She's one of the top demos in America. She did a big like 5 by 7 inch card like this, and I thought, oh, that's just too much. That's too much. That's just too much. I don't want a card that big. I've just got some glue here that I'm going to get off. There we go. So that's our card front done. You can see it's coming together. Now let's do our big fan. Layer our big fan pieces. It seems criminal to cover this one up, but that's okay. We can manage. We can manage. If she can get it off the thing. Is everybody a bit overwhelmed with this card? Or are you still with me? I like the glue because I've got a little bit of wiggle room. I hope you're still with me because I don't want to bamboozle you. Okay, so that goes onto our wide fan. There we go. Just make sure that's all there. So that's going to go like this, and we might as well adhere our skinny fan together as well, and then we can just construct. How good is that? I'm just going to, sometimes it's hard. You still with us? Still with me? Good. Good to hear. Sometimes it's hard to pick little skinny pieces up. This is where I find the glue's really good because you can wiggle it into place and get your borders the way you want them. Okay, one more. It has a cool, this card looks really clever when it's complete, I must admit. You sort of think, that's cool. How did they do that? You're glued to the screen, are you, Sheila? Oh dear, I hope you come unstuck. I'm glad you're still with me. Okay, so that's our skinny fan. Right. Here are all my little bits and bobs. Okay. I think I need a sip of tea. Has everybody got their cuppa? I've got green tea in my cup. What have you got? Okay, I don't think I need that now, but let's... Okay, so now we've got to place a big fan piece. And I like it to touch on either side of the card base. I think that looks really cool when it does that. But to do that, you've got to make sure it's not hanging off in the wrong place. So you just got to twist it to get it in the right position. And then I'm going to hold... Where's my take your picture? Then I'm going to just hold it in place and flip it over and get my pencil and put a pencil mark there. Because I want to put, now I can see that pencil mark, I don't know if you can. I want to put dimensionals down here, not up the top, because that would show. You'll be giving it a try, will you? Well, I think it's worth trying, but I didn't want to try and play with the dimensions. I just thought, you know what, the US size fits in our envelopes. I'm happy. I don't need to stress my little brain out about trying to get it like Christy did. She's too clever. I couldn't be bothered. So I'm just going to do a little sneaky, skinny piece down here for the point. And then I'm just going to get the backs off, if I can. Don't come off yet. And then once again, just line it. Oh, hang on, first thing before you do that, rub your pencil mark out. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you don't, but you know. Now I tend to put the point down first, and then I sort of wiggle it to line up on the top of the card and the right hand side of the card. I think if my point's in position, then I'm okay. Let's see. Yay! Now I can still see a little bit of pencil mark, so you can sort of get it off afterwards. So that's the first fan. Now we've got the second fan, the skinny fan. Are we following my measurements? You know what, Leslie? I was looking at Christie's and thought, oh, it's so nice in our size, card size, and I'm thinking, you know, no. It'd be good to know if it's so. Yeah, exactly. And like with Christie's converted hers, but she did say she had a lot of cut cardstock and paper afterwards. Her big fan is much wider, so I think her skinny fan came from the card base. Let's have a little look. She said she had a lot of cardstock cut and wasted, sort of thing. Let's see. I can't. That rule is no use to me. I can't see what I'm doing. This is from my daughter when she was little. Do you remember Madeline, the little French schoolgirl that had a little cartoon show on ABC? This is from her pencil pack back in the day. Like, you know, keep them, they're good. Okay, so Christie's little fan is 1.5. And no, that's not even right. That's not even one. Oh, yes, it is. So Christie's little fan has come from the card base, whereas our big fan came from the card base. That's the difference. But I couldn't work it out, so Christie's just clever. I'm not that clever. Okay, so now with our small fan, I want it to come up to the top and be lined up with the top and the right-hand side of the card. So once again, I'm going to just sort of lie it down and sort of line it up, but get my points sort of right, and then twist this into place. Probably would be easier if I'd put my insert in first, but I haven't done that because I'm not clever. Okay, that looks pretty good. I keep getting all these text messages from Flight Centre. They obviously want me to go on a holiday. And that'd be nice. So I've got a pencil mark on my top, my skinny fan. So now I'm going to, I'm just getting inundated with text messages and emails from Flight Centre. So obviously I need a holiday, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to just get a little, you could use a mini dimensional, but I just thought the sides of our dimensionals worked quite well for this little, maybe I'll even trim it down a little bit more so I can get it right into more of the point. Oh, did I not? No, I've got to trim that off. I'm being very pedantic now. Okay, maybe not quite down so far. There we go. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should have rubbed out my pencil mark. Okay. Where's my eraser? Here it is. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to, I don't want to put my point of my skinny fan right down in the bottom because then it won't be up the top here. Does that look? Let's, before we do this, before I attach my skinny fan, let's put our insert in, and that will probably be a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. Now if you want to stamp on your insert, I always say stamp before you stick, but here we are. I'm not going to. What show did you love, Tanya? Did I relate to a show? Did I? I can't even remember. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing with my skinny fan. Okay, so I want the top corners to line up at the top and the right. But before I actually physically press it down, I want to make sure that this is where it's a little bit fiddly. Okay, there. And then go down like so. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Oh, hang on. She didn't take the backing off this one. Oh no, it fell off. Where's my little tiny dimension that I put down the bottom here? It ran away. Okay. Oh, it's on my scissors. Let's just get another little one. Because I don't want the point of my fan flapping in the breeze. I want it to be secure. So this is where it gets a little bit fiddly. See, look, Tanya, how dumb am I? Of course I talked about Madeline. Honestly, I really think I lost my brain somewhere along the line. Now, this is tricky. Oh, maybe if I put it down here. No, that's not going to work, is it? Well, it might. It shouldn't have come off. It was naughty. Yes, it was a cute show. I remember it well. Okay. Now, let me just pick up any things that... Did I clean? Yes, I did. Okay, so there's our fan. Stamping shenanigans. I think I'm more than that. I think I'm just lost the plot completely. Oh. Okay, now this is a piece that we're going to put in behind, like, to decorate our insert. You don't have to do that. If you prefer it just like that, then leave it just like that. You don't have to put an insert piece of designer series paper. Now, because I've cut it, I can't turn it, I can't change my mind. But what do you think? Do you think it needs the little piece inside? I think it gives it a little bit more contrast, and it actually kind of matches that part of this piece of paper. I think I'll put it in. So where is this? Once again, it's a terrible injustice covering up the gold foil piece, but you know, there are two sides to the paper and both need to be shown love. Okay, so just little border top and right. But yeah, you certainly don't have to put that piece in if you don't want to. Now I've got gunk. Okay, so that's what our card's starting to look like. Now I have, here I have. I've got the banner from the Kintsugi Sweet Collection. That's the embossing folder. There's a banner, and there's all sorts of sentiments. I really think There Is Beauty in Your History would be nice. You Inspire Me is quite small on this banner. Let's see what... There is beauty in your history. Yeah, that fills it up. I like that. Let's have a look. Now, I'm just going to condition my stamp. Looks better with the contrast. Yeah, I think it looks good, but you don't have to do that. So I'm going to get Misty Moonlight down. Misty Moonlight was an in colour that came back into our colour colour families, and I was so excited because it was one of my favourite in colours. There was I can't remember, there was a bluey grey, kind of a bit like cloud cover that was with it. There is beauty in your history. There we go, that's stamped nicely. I like Stamping Shenanigans name. That's a really cool name. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here. That's where it looks like it needs to go. And I'll pop it up on dimensionals. And pop it down here. And then, as I said, I've got a few things cut out. We don't need dimensionals anymore. And I've got the bling. This is the flower accents. They're so sparkly. Can you see how sparkly they are? Oh. It does reflect the elegance of Japanese culture. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put one there. What did I do? I put some on our inside here. I think I'm just going to do that there. And then I always struggle with the third one. I think I like it here. I think. Let's put it there and decide. Okay, so I thought we could do another sentiment on the inside, but in your history, I know you get through this a bit stronger. I might leave that for the moment, but I thought on the inside, I thought a vase. I thought a vase might be that doesn't look right to me. This colour doesn't look right because that colour doesn't appear anywhere, and this is the one that I cut out that I missed cutting properly. So I think I might just use one of the flowers. I'll put those in my little, I think, you know, and if you're going to stamp on the inside, and I think that's another good reason for the piece of designer series paper, you can't sort of stamp a sentiment and then it's showing. Like I'll show you on Christy's card. She's put a white insert. She's sort of done it reverse to what I've done. But if this was just a white insert, you could stamp across and have your stamping, your sentiment hanging out, and you don't want that. Whereas if you put the designer series paper, it doesn't. Or if you cut your card, your insert like that, then that's not going to be a problem. But that's a good reason for using the designer series paper. I think just a little flower. I think that will look really nice. Okay, let's just it's not raining yet, but it certainly looks like it's going to. So let's just pop that there. And I think that is our finished card. Let me just... There we go. So that's our card. And it's called a fan fold card. And as I said, I have used the imperial measurements. So this one's using the Celebratory Sips designer series paper. And just be mindful if you've got directional paper, because you can get a bit unstuck with directional paper. And this one, what paper did we say that was? Flowers in Bloom? I don't have it, that's why I don't know. And I know what else. Christy's stuck her fans down flat, whereas I've done mine on dimensionals. So that makes it look quite different as well. So interesting card. It's just a bit of fun, quite a bit of measurement and cutting, but interesting to sort of just play. And you do get quite a few bits left over that you could, you know, use towards another card. Like here's another, I think that's another little mini fan already. See, you could go ahead, don't have to cut those pieces up for the next card. You've got those. Not sure what I've got here. I've got something. So there you go. So let's go. Thank you. You're very welcome. So that's our fan fold card. I don't know why it's called a fold, because it's not really a fold. Can you see my dimensionals? Oh no, it's just because you're sort of seeing it side on. When you open it flat, you can't see dimensionals. It's not really a fold, is it? I guess it is, but it's not really. Anyway, it's just an interesting card, and I like doing interesting cards. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you jumping on and spending half an hour or so, 40 minutes with me. I hope you have a great start to your week and your week goes smoothly. I will see you again on Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock for Card and a Cuppa. Stay safe, keep well until we see each other again. Bye for now.